I've seen a couple films that I want to talk about. I saw one at the cinema called The Source Family. This one was in partnership with Landlocked Music. They're selling the soundtrack. It came out on the day that the film screened at the cinema. So there was a partnership with them where you could only get tickets through them except the day of when you get tickets at the cinema. This is a documentary about, I mean, they call it a cult themselves in the film. So, I mean,
a cult.
It's a cult. But it's not like a, kill your relatives cult or, harm other people cult. Sure. It's like a, hey, isn't it great that we're all together and we believe these things and, are they hurting anyone? You could definitely make an argument that there was some shady stuff going on amongst themselves, but nothing, it's really it's not a tragedy story.
Sure.
It's not a tragic story. It's not like at the end you were like, oh, I can't believe what those people went through. At the end, it's just kind of like, okay.
See, I was afraid they'd be passing out the Kool-Aid at the end or something, and it'd be horrible.
I will spoil that. It's not that.
Okay.
It is this interesting kind of historical document of a film. So it's this guy named Jim Baker, who I think his name is Jim Baker. He was a restaurateur in L.A., and he started 5 or 6 different restaurants. Most of them were health food based, and then he was in some kind of altercation where did he accidentally kill a guy? Did he on purpose kill a guy? We don't know for sure. The movie doesn't really sort of make that clear. But he was convicted of some crime, whether it was manslaughter or murder. I don't really know. He got out of prison about 5 years later or so, and then started this restaurant called The Source. The Source was the first sort of health food restaurant in LA. It was a huge deal. All the celebrities came there. Everyone showed up there. And the people who worked there were essentially people who they all dressed in white, and they were sort of into kind of new age kind of ideas, and why can't we all love each other, and religious kind of new kinds of religious expression, a lot of yogis, a lot of different types of yoga and stuff. So they're talking about all these different things that they're into. Jim Baker is also into this stuff. At a certain point, he decides, I can't follow anyone else's teachings. I have to come up with my own. And that's when he starts inviting people on Sundays to hang out at his restaurant and listen to him talk about his ideas. This is where things start to get weird. He renames himself Father Yod, and he eventually renames himself something else, Yahowah, something like that. I'm not sure. Yahovah, something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but I think it's like all vowels for the most part. And the structure of the film, and they sort of tell the story of the Source family. He buys a big, or rents a big house where, they've got 140 people living there, and all this stuff is going on. The structure of the film is basically, and this is why I don't mind spoiling that, nobody really died, is because the structure of the film is from the perspective of the people who were in the Source family.
So who's...
Yeah. It's not like it's from the one guy who didn't drink the Kool-Aid. It's from the perspective of they talk to at least 12 different people, I would think. And it's so funny because they introduce themselves and they say, my name was Jupiter in the Source family. And it's interesting because you can tell right from the start who sort of gave it up at a certain point and who is still down, because they'll say either, my name was, I was known as this in the Source family, or they'll say, my name is. It's like, when somebody says, my name is, Bill Simpson, and my name was this in the Source family, you can tell pretty quickly that he's not down with the teachings anymore. Somebody else says, yeah, my name's, Moonflower. And it's like, okay, that's not the name that your parents gave you, right, most likely.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. And it's just kind of this fascinating historical artifact of these people, and they all sort of have their own little stories. And, things get a little weird where, there were some, basically teenagers living with them, in the 15 to 16-year-old range. And this was one of the sort of points of entry that the police could have to say, hey, you got to stop doing this. This is not cool. And then the Father Yod said, anyone who's under the age of 18 has to get married. And he just married them all off to other people in the family. That was sort of definitely one of the things that you could say, yeah, I don't know if I'm down with this anymore. But it's really interesting as kind of a historical artifact, again, because there's so many of these cults that end really badly for everyone involved. So to have people who were in the Source family be able to talk about it and be able to talk about it rationally and not say, not be brainwashed in that way is really kind of unique among films like this. Most of the time it's from a historical perspective, or somebody wrote this down, or this was the kid of someone who escaped the cult, or something like that.
Or just found footage, or whatever.
Exactly. But it tells the whole story all the way through, and, there are, the one thing that bugged me about the film, I thought the film was great, by the way. I don't know if I've said that yet. It's a really amazing film, very well done. The one thing that bugged me was at the end when they sort of had the where are they now sort of things. They clearly let the people write their own. So, one person said he was a corporate refugee. I don't even know what that means. Does that just mean you're unemployed? I don't know what that means.
You escaped the man.
Yeah. And some of the Where Are They Now stories are kind of cool. Like the one guy was like, I'm living off the grid. I recycle everything. I have my 2 acres of farm, and I live totally off the land, and I'm off the grid. I do everything solar power. And I'm like, all right, I'm down. I can respect that. I don't really want to live that way, but I respect that you are making that effort. Way to go. And then another guy's like, the apocalypse is coming, and I've got 2 years of food stored away, and I'm not going to tell you where my 2 years of food is stored away, but, we're all going to die, except for me, because I'm prepared. And it's like, that one just came out of nowhere, because the whole rest of the film, the guy's just talking very rationally, and like, yeah, not everything about the Source family was great, this and that was okay, and, I liked this aspect of it, and then things sort of change around here, and you think this is just a normal guy, and then he just throws that out there, and then in his bio, in his sort of Where Are They Now, he's like, it's like he talks to a 30,000-year-old god named whatever, and it's like, wow, that turned real fast. That turned real fast.
A sharp corner there.
Yeah, exactly. But the Source family, if you like sort of weird history and like sort of untold history type stuff, and you're fascinated by 60s counterculture, definitely check this one out. Very good. And that one, I think that one's still running around in theaters, depending on where you're at. A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.